Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Professor David J. Delosreyes. I will be presenting tonight my do-it-yourself amplifier and the so-called do-it-yourself electrolytic capacitors which are in parallel. Later on, I will be discussing the use of these three electrolytic capacitors in parallel. The use of this with regard to this do-it-yourself amplifier. This is a do-it-yourself amplifier. Okay, this will be the speaker. I got an LM386 module here. So this is an amplifier module. So I bring out the connections of this one. This one here goes to the speaker. This is just mono. And these terminals here, okay, will be the audio input and the voltage terminals. These are four wires over here. So the red and black, I bring it out. These are the red and black. So this should be the plus terminal of the input voltage. And this should be the negative terminal of the input voltage. And I put in parallel with it a capacitor, high frequency capacitor, to reduce line interference. The use of this one is that for the audio to don't have any interference, we must have to place this one. So any interference coming from the voltage source will be diverted immediately to this high frequency capacitor. The other two terminals, it goes at the back, and this is actually the audio input. This audio input, actually this one here, actually emanates from my VCR. So this audio input is actually the output of the VCR. Because I would like to play this VCR here. That will be the, what do you call this, monitor. And that monitor is actually a VGA monitor. It's a monitor for computers. But I converted this one to accept an analog signal. But for it to receive an analog signal, we should have a analog to digital converter connected between the VCR and the monitor. So the output of the VCR will be analog. It will pass here. It will be converted to digital. So we could display whatever video played on the VCR on the VGA monitor. Okay, let's go back to the use of this amplifier here. The use of this amplifier here is that if I play my VCR, the video will go to the monitor immediately, but the output, okay, is this one here. This is plugged in from the back of the VCR. So this is actually the audio output of the VCR. This is an RCA connector, meaning to say it's a low voltage signal. So we must have to amplify this one. So for us to hear the sound on the VCR, we need this playing. So what I will be doing is that for us to hear the sound from the VCR, we must have to activate this audio amplifier here. And for this audio amplifier, do it yourself. I did it myself. Okay, we must have to power up this one. The voltage requirement of this one is actually, I place it here, 6 volts. This is an LM386 module. So I will be using my variable power supply. I will set the voltage to 6 volts, not 6 volts, 6 volts. So they should be the negative terminal. The negative terminal is the black one. And the red terminal will be the red one, this one. Hold on. Okay. The amplifier is now this module here, which I did do it yourself. It's now power up. So the only missing thing here now is the audio input here, and this audio input should be coming from the VCR as soon as we play the tape inside. We got a movie tape inside already. And I would like to discuss this one also. This one here. Many of us don't know this one yet. I put through 3 electrolytic capacitors in parallel because I would like to boost the juice requirement of this amplifier here. So this will be the plus terminal of the capacitors, and this will be the negative terminal. And the use of this one is for amplifiers. So I will be connecting this one to the negative terminal, the black one. Okay. And I will connect the red terminal to the red terminal on the amplifier module. So the amplifier module is lighted, and at the same time, these 3 electrolytic capacitors, which are in parallel, is in parallel with the power supply. So this will be a good source of DC voltage. Okay. This is used for amplifiers which requires high sound, because without this, if your power supply is not so good in the current requirement, we could use this one. This is the so-called juice additional thing for amplifiers. Electrolytic capacitors. These are high value capacitors. This is 1,000. I think this is 1,500 and this is 500. And they are connected in parallel. So these electrolytic capacitors, which are connected in parallel, actually helps the audio amplifier. Okay? Okay, let's hear the sound by using this do-it-yourself electrolytic capacitors and this do-it-yourself amplifier, which uses an LM386. This amplifier is now power up. And since this electrolytic is in parallel with the power supply of the audio amplifier, I do it yourself by myself. Okay, we are now ready to inject an audio here for us to hear the sound here. And for us to hear a sound, we must have to play the VCR. The VCR is now activated. There is a video tip inside. The analog to digital converter, the one that converts the analog video to digital video, so we could display it on the computer monitor. And this is now ready. I will try to press play here. And as you can hear it, the audio from the movie is now diverted here, and it is being amplified by this do-it-yourself amplifier. Okay, and these 3 electrolytic capacitors help in the performance of this audio amplifier. The volume control for this audio amplifier is this one.
I thought I'd find you here.
That's minimum.
Aren't you gonna be late for work?
We could increase it.
After 22 years, I can afford to be late to work once.
So the audio coming out here is the audio coming out from the played VCR tape using a VCR,
About Catherine.
and the video is actually diverted to the computer monitor.
Son,
This is a do-it-yourself thing. So it's a nice thing if we could do these ones in real life.
being other people. They're my people.
Okay, this is a do-it-yourself audio amplifier.
Proud of your Indian hair.
The audio input of this one is the one coming from the VCR,
Responsibilities.
and the performance of this do-it-yourself audio amplifier is boosted by these electrolytic capacitors, which are connected in parallel. The plus and minus is connected with the plus and minus of the power supply. So it will help in the inducement of a high current needed by the audio amplifier. Okay?
Yeah, but it's my grandchild.
This is a do-it-yourself thing for an audio amplifier.
Gentlemen, stand
This is a do-it-yourself for 3 electrolytic capacitors, which are needed in the performance of this audio amplifier. Because if we try to need a good sound over here, the power source should be good in current, and that current is boosted by these 3 electrolytic capacitors. Okay, good evening from Los Angeles. This is Professor DavidJDelosReyes. Okay. This is a do-it-yourself audio amplifier module, do-it-yourself electrolytic capacitors, which try to boost the performance of this audio amplifier. And this is a do-it-yourself, what they call this, computer monitor. Because I have used my computer monitor to bring out my audio from a VCR. Good evening from Los Angeles.